one thing that I love about ink or watercolor is the fact that you can really obtain this effect of stained glass. And I've always been fascinated about stained glasses in churches or in Buddhist temples. It's really something beautiful, especially because of the fact that it changes along the day. I have a very vivid memory of being in a Buddhist temple in Plum Village, where we would go at 6 o'clock. No, at 5 actually. It was super early. It was at night, and we would begin the meditation, and throughout the meditation you would see the sunrise coming through the stained glass of the temple. It was very beautiful to witness. So for this actual artwork, I think I decided the title at first, which was Into the Wild. So I sketched it quite roughly. I even tried some colors, which ended up with this ugly sketch with, I think I did that with pastels, and I quickly saw that I would better stick to 2 or 3 colors. And I think in general it's kind of a rule. If you do more than 3 colors, in general, it's hard to have a harmonious result. What I do too is that for colors, for example, if I want a blue and a purple, I will always use the same base. You know, I do my blue, which in general it's mixing blue with black to have this kind of blue-gray. And then I will take that and I will add some red inside a little bit to have this purple. But they always come from the same source, you know, so that at the end it's not a color that has nothing to do with the first color. And even, you know, doing this kind of orange red, I mixed a little bit of the first blue, so that you have like a camailleux. I'll write the right word in English. You have like a camailleux of colors. So you cannot make a big mistake in this case. Well, in general, if you use this technique, it always be kind of harmonious. To avoid seeing traces of pencils underneath the ink, you can use colored pencils, or you can also use even better watercolor pencils so that they will melt later. But you have to know in advance which colors you will want for the end result, which in my case is rare because I don't have a precise idea first when I begin to paint. But if you have a very precise idea of the colors, you can go with watercolor pencils. So I always go with very light colors first, and it's an important rule that you always have to follow, especially if you want to have this stained glass effect. And at first we always want to put more pigments, and we always put more pigments, like on this, you'll see later, but on the violin kind of cello part, it was too dark and I couldn't fix it at the end. You can always fix something that is light, but almost never fix something that is too dark. In general, once I mix a color, I'm trying to fill all the parts of the work that will end up with this color. I'm trying to decide at this time. Especially then I was using these shot glasses, which I don't use now. Now I'm using a palette that you can cover, you know, that you can seal almost hermetically like a Tupperware. But at the time I was using these shot glasses that I would cover with a plastic foil. But I found that this palette that you can close is really the best way to keep your inks fresh for the next day. Of course, if you're like me, if you need 3 or 4 days to finish a painting. So for the pieces of glass themselves, I'm not very precise or symmetrical, and it's a choice. You know, you can go very symmetrical if you want, but I kind of try to do something symmetrical. I use my compass and my ruler, but I think there is a charm in things being, I think I learned that from Commedia dell'arte. Every movement they make, they never do movements like that are totally symmetrical. They will always do something asymmetrical. And I think in art too, I like it also because it shows that it's a human creation. It's a human that is behind that. It's not an AI. And but even in glass works, in churches, you never have something that is perfectly symmetrical. So to fill every glass work, I put a very light color in the middle, and very quickly, because the ink is drying so fast, I'll prepare two colors. You really have to prepare your two colors first. And you have two different brushes. One brush that is thicker and a thinner one for the edges. So you put the light color in the center, and very quickly you add the darker color on the contours. And there you just watch the show happen, the two colors melt, and to me that's the most beautiful part. And one beautiful thing also with ink, when you do this glass style work, is that the contours are appearing alone. Just by doing all the little tiles, all the little glasses. This part to me is also one of the most agreeable to do, because it's quite meditative. Once you've done all your shapes of glass, you can just relax. And well, if you've decided in advance the colors you want to use, you can really just go for it, and it's like a meditation a little bit. It's very nice just to see the ink flows on itself on every little piece of glass. Make sure that one piece of glass is dried, totally dried, before you do the one next to it. In general, I'm always working from up to down, of course, so that you don't, with your own hand, you don't mess up with the ink that is still fresh. And you really have to count one glass yes, one glass no, one glass yes, and then complete every piece of glass this way, so that you really have the contours that are precise at the end. So if you want to have parts of the drawing that are very light compared to other ones, you can use this drawing gum. And it's very practical because you can paint everything around, and it will just stay white. It will keep this part of the paper totally white. And but to use this, please don't use your usual brushes, because you will just ruin them. It will stick to the hair, and you won't be able to take everything out. You have this rubber brushes that are very practical for the drawing gum, and after you can just let it dry on the rubber and take it out. It goes out very easily. I really love this part of the process where you're peeling out the drawing gum. It's very satisfying. And it's very satisfying also to see that underneath everything stayed totally white. And really, nothing beats the white of the paper. You cannot think, I will use some white in the middle to have this light effect. The lighter effect you can have is from the paper itself. A very important tip is that when you take out your tape at the end from the corners, if you don't want to rip off the paper itself, you can use a hairdryer upon it just before you take it out. You peel it off, because it will melt the little glue that is inside the tape. It will be just easier to take out. And if you're like me, if you cannot help but still touch your painting after you took out the tape on the edges, I will always find a little last detail that I want to change, and this will lead most of the time to staining the borders. There you can use white gouache because it's more opaque than ink. With ink, it's quite impossible to have this white. There are many things I don't like about this painting, like the shape of the foot down is not so nice. You see here the kind of cello violin on the left is way too dark. It doesn't have the right color. But it's impossible to fix afterwards. Praying that this video won't be censored because I dared to paint some flesh there. I wish you a very good inking. Ciao, ciao.